never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a hump day Wednesday. It's also the first hump day in the month of July. So, of course, that means it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And since next month we start high school football and college football, I figured it's time to do a college football top 10 countdown. Now, this one is very interesting. Now, I know I give a lot of tidbits off of college football Trash Talk Nation, and if you follow me on social media, you have seen some of the funny pictures or posts that I've shared that come off of that page, because there is some funny stuff on there. But if you follow it, there's also some times where they post serious college football stuff on there. And one of the things they posted, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago, actually happens to be the topic of this top 10 countdown. And that is best records against top 25 teams since 2010. And it officially came out June 27th, which was last Tuesday, so a little over a week ago. The number 10 team that has the 10th best record against top 25 teams since 2010 is Notre Dame, and they are exactly 500. 27 wins, 27 losses. Number 9 is the one that is kind of shocking if you don't actually do the research on this team, because they've been dreadfully, awfully, historically bad the last couple of years. But going into, I would say, the 2018 or 19 season, they had about a 7 or 8 year stretch where they pretty much either won double-digit games or close to double-digit games every year, and then all of a sudden they just fell off the map. But they used to be a BCS or Rose Bowl team every year. That is the Stanford Cardinal. And their record against top 25 teams since 2010 is 31 and 28. Number 8 is Oklahoma State, who is 33 and 27. Number 7 is the Oregon Ducks with a record of 31 wins and 24 losses. And number 6 is the Georgia Bulldogs with a overall record of 39 wins and 29 losses. Again, 10 through 6, Notre Dame, Stanford, Oklahoma State, Oregon, and Georgia. And again, this is the teams that have the best record against top 25 teams since 2010. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because A lot of people have this misconception that some teams never beat other ranked teams, or some teams never lose against other ranked teams, or some teams never play ranked teams, which all of those things are completely, totally false, especially if you really, truly believe that another top 10 team has not played a ranked team. You don't get in the top 10 by playing 0 ranked teams. Now, a lot of people will say, well, they beat so and so, but well, so and so shouldn't be ranked. It don't matter what you think, it matters that they're ranked. And a lot of times when somebody asks that, they'll say, well, so and so's 21st, but they're overrated. And that's just another dumb argument somebody wants to have when they really have no clue what they're talking about. So you ask them, well, who's better than they are? And they can't name anybody. So if a team is ranked 21st or 22nd, if there's nobody else that you would put ahead of them, well, then they should be 21st or 22nd. Number 5 on the list is the fake Death Valley in Louisiana. LSU has a record of 46 and 27. Number 4 on the list is the real Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. The Clemson Tigers are 36 and 20 against ranked teams since 2010, and that's probably the one that most people, unless you actually watch the games and do your research and don't just go by what you think or what somebody tells you, that's the one that's going to shock most people, because for some reason a lot of people have this complete total misconception that Clemson never plays ranked teams, which couldn't be farther from the truth. They've played 56 ranked teams in 13 years. So if you calculate 13 times 4 is 52, and they've played 56. So they're playing a little bit more than 4, almost 4.5 ranked teams a year. Well, you only play 12 games, 13 counting your conference championship. So about a third of their opponents every year are ranked. But yet people still try to say Clemson never beats anybody any good. That's just another dumb argument people like to have. But not only that, you look at that record and you think people are still stupid enough and dumb enough and idiotic enough to say, well, Clemson could never compete in the SEC, which is 100% false. But you look at their record against ranked teams and you think about how many times they played Alabama and how many times they beat Alabama. But not only have they beat Alabama since 2010, they beat LSU, they beat Georgia, they beat Auburn, and they beat a few of the lesser known teams in the SEC, but I'm just talking about the top of the heap. If they can beat South Carolina, and they can beat Georgia, and they can beat Alabama, and they can beat Auburn, and they can beat LSU, then they could play in the SEC because they're beating all of the better teams in the conference. I'm not going to talk about beating the bottom of the barrel teams because that doesn't accomplish anything. But if you can beat the top of the heap teams in the conference, then you can play in the conference. Number 3, Oklahoma. Their record against ranked teams is 42 and 21. And that's another one of those stats you look at. And it's funny because a lot of people have the misconception that Oklahoma can't beat ranked teams. Well, you can't have 42 wins against ranked teams in 13 years if you can't beat ranked teams. I think a lot of the thing that hurts Oklahoma when it comes to that is it seems like every time they play a ranked team with the shot at the national championship on the line, or if they play a ranked team with a shot at the playoffs on the line, they'll choke. And they do that. But they're still winning 2/3 of their games against ranked teams. They've just got to learn how to beat them when it counts. Beating a ranked team in the middle of September, nobody cares about. You need to beat them Thanksgiving, first week in December. That's when you need to beat the ranked teams. Number 2, Ohio State. They've got a record of 45 and 15, and the team that has the best record against top 25 teams since 2010 is Alabama. Their record is 66 and 18. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give you the winning percentage because I'm honestly not sure what that would be, but it's better than 2/3, so it's got to be up around 70 or 75%, and that's pretty doggone stinking good. So Alabama has 66 wins and 18 losses against ranked teams since 2010. Now, the only thing that I could not find on College Football Trash Talk Nation is if they're counting the win when you played the team or if they're counting the win beating a ranked team when the season ended. I'm going to assume it was when the season ended, but I could be wrong because it wasn't on there. But either way, all those teams have a good record against ranked teams. Like I said, the one that's probably surprising is Stanford, because the last 3 years they've been lucky to win 3 games, but up until then they were pretty doggone good. And then Oklahoma and Clemson, because people for some reason have this misconception Oklahoma just can't beat ranked teams, and that's not true. They can't beat them when it counts. They can't beat them when it matters, but they are beating them. And then for some reason, anytime you mention Clemson, people always say they don't play anybody. But if you just bring this stat up to them and show them they've played 56 ranked teams since 2010, then their argument is automatically off the table. Because you look, just doing quick math, Notre Dame has played 54 ranked teams. Stanford's played 59. Oklahoma State's played 60. Oregon's played 55. Georgia's played 58. LSU has played 73. Clemson's played 56. Oklahoma's played 63. Ohio State's played 60. And Alabama's played 84. So Alabama and LSU have played the most, but Clemson's played more ranked teams than Oregon, and they're right there neck and neck with Georgia as far as how many they've played. So it's not like every other team is playing 3 times as many ranked opponents as Clemson is. That's not true. The only one you really can say that about is Alabama. They've played 84 in 13 years, which is 6.5 a year. So half of their schedule every year is against ranked teams. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Did I tell you the joke about the bed? It ain't made up yet. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.